Hello, I'm here again on Church Street on this busy Friday afternoon. Let me try and be a little bit more clearer. I don't know more clearer I need to be, but all the same, a few new arrivals housed at the top of Smithdown Road wouldn't have been a problem, but that's not what's happened. Whole streets have been housed with new arrivals, and a particularly obnoxious bunch of new arrivals at that. If you think I'm being a bit harsh here or nasty, well, go and have a walk in and around there, go and talk to the good people that still live there, especially some of the elderly. Right, go and have a word with them. So, like I say, had just a few new arrivals been dispersed, okay sir, being dispersed the top of Smithdown Road, it wouldn't have been a problem. But that's not what happened. Some bright spark came up with a silly idea of occupying quite a few streets full of these new arrivals who turned the place into a bit of a mess. In fact, a big mess. They're anti-social, the antics. As I've said, if you don't believe me, go and have a walk in and around Wendell Street and a few other streets up there and talk to some of the locals there. So, had, as I've said, had the Bright Spark or Bright Sparks, whoever is involved in this, housed just a few families, few new arrivals, the top of Smithdown Road, there wouldn't have been a problem. Like I say, that's not what happened, and there is a problem. The new arrivals that have been housed in Kensington and Fairfield, further afield as well, up the large parts of Wavertree now, they've brought with them different ways, beliefs, values, standards that are not compatible with their Scouse host. Now, that's not my fault. Don't blame me for that. That's just a fact. That's just the way it is. Those, as I've said, housed in and around Kensington and Fairfield, and new arrivals with different beliefs, values, standards, culture, whatever, right? That don't fit in fact, don't want to fit in. They don't want to assimilate, they want to dominate, and that's what's happening in that once proud working class Scouse community. That's what is happening. It's not me being unfair on anyone, not me picking on anyone. In fact, the complete opposite. In fact, what I'm actually saying is probably an understatement, because if I was to really take time to thoroughly investigate how many new arrivals and the cultural change, how much has happened in and around the areas, I'd probably be shocked. What I see is bad enough, right? What you see in the city centre is bad enough, but if you were to really take the time and the effort to find out, I'd probably be shocked. So, given these new arrivals, getting really busy now, ladies and gentlemen, given these new arrivals have been housed amongst a community they don't fit in and don't want to, then all that happens there is the host community is eventually moved out and replaced by a different culture that is not Scouse. So we have then parts of Liverpool that are not only part of the Scouse fam, don't want to be, they've no intentions of. Again, if you think I'm exaggerating, going in and around those parts of Liverpool, going in and around Kensington and Fairfield, top of Smithdown Road, you will see what has happened. It's not Joe Owens making this up. As I say, I wish I didn't have to come down here. Right, I wish I didn't have to make these videos. Hundreds have made, and yet I've had no No response from those I criticise. Yet I've made hundreds criticising them. And no matter what I say, they don't want to know. Right? So again, ladies and gentlemen, I bring this message to you, the good people of Liverpool, because I believe I need to. I need to show what is happening to our city. The new arrivals being dispersed in our glorious city, vast majority do not want to fit in, right? They don't want to assimilate, they want to dominate. And that is no good, right? Because long term, that's going to be disastrous for our city. It's going to be disastrous for our unique Scouse character, traditions and cultural identity. They're going to be impacted, they're going to be changed. And we're seeing it now, as I've said, in the once proud working class Scouse community of Kensington and Fairfield. That area now is being changed. In fact, has been changed. Large parts of it now are not like it used to be many years ago. It is being completely changed. A new culture has replaced the Scouse one. You have to excuse me, it's getting really busy. And like I've said, had a few families just been dispersed at the top of Smithdown Road, it wouldn't have been a problem. But that's not what happened. That's not what has happened. Whole streets have been housed by new arrivals who they don't want to fit in with anyone though at the top of Smithdown Road. And again, don't think Jones is being horrible or nasty to towards anyone. I'm speaking the awful truth. None of these politicians want to deal with the awful truth, let alone talk about it. They're just going to try and ignore it. But like I've mentioned in yesterday's video, they think they're just going to continually ignore the good people of this city, and they're in for a shock. Right, let's hope that reflects in votes at the forthcoming general election. So the new arrivals that have been housed in our glorious city, because there's too many, right, they are creating an imbalance. The once dominant culture, Scouse culture, that prevailed in Kensington and Fairfield is now being replaced by something completely different. Smithdown Road, that short little few streets, half a dozen streets, that's been completely changed. You wouldn't believe you were in a neighbourhood in Liverpool, venturing in and around Wendell Street and other streets up there. There's a few of them, I can't remember the names. Wendell Street's the main one. You wouldn't believe you were in a neighbourhood in Liverpool. You wouldn't believe it, right? You would think you were somewhere else. And it's not me having a go at anyone, right? I'm just speaking the awful truth. Too many are coming into our city that don't want to assimilate, they want to dominate. They don't fit in and will never fit in. Their aim is to replace our Scouse culture with theirs, and we can see this happening. I stand here with my phone, my camera on my phone, and I see what's happening. I walk in and around the city centre. I walk in and around for several hours, right, to make sure I've got my facts right. I don't want to bring any news to the good people of Liverpool that's not correct. I wouldn't do that. I am bringing the awful truth. The awful truth is our city is being changed. It's being changed against the wishes of the vast majority of people in Liverpool. People in Liverpool don't want this. I know they don't. I speak to them on a daily basis. They do not want this. What is happening is wrong. It is being done without the consent of the good people of Liverpool. So let's hope that reflects in votes, the general election, especially with Joe Owens, who'll be standing in Wavertree. I'll be contesting that ward, that constituency. The sitting MP is Paula Barker. She's a cultural changer. Or she's going to remain silent on the cultural change of our glorious city, so it doesn't really matter. So I'll be opposing here, right? And I'll be standing on a ticket of this. New arrivals in our city who are quite happy to embrace the Scouse fam and become part of something unique and special. You're more than welcome. The vast majority, who I believe don't want to assimilate, want to dominate, they need to relocate to a new town or city that can accommodate their needs. Then we close the door. We have a discussion on it as to how many we can allow in our city and how many we can't. Otherwise, what is going to happen is Kensington and Fairfield's going to extend further and further. Other parts of Wavertree are going to extend further and further, and more cultural change will sweep across our city. We will lose our unique Scouse character, traditions and cultural identity that can never, ever, ever be replaced. Once it's changed, ladies and gentlemen, there is no changing it back. Remember, no more Cockney sparrows fly over London. Right? That has been culturally changed. It is a completely different city to what it once was. Do you remember that one when I was a kid at school? Go to London to see the Queen. Remember it? I remember we went there, we visited Madame Tussauds, the museum, and it was a lovely journey. I can still remember as a schoolboy, right? That is not the case now. I'd be shocked if I went to London. I haven't been to London for 10 years or so. I'd probably be shocked now. So my point being is, it's not small amounts of new arrivals. Even if they didn't want to fit in, small amounts are not a problem because they're in such small numbers. They don't pose a threat to our unique Scouse character, traditions and cultural identity. But small amounts that do want to fit in, they'd probably contribute to our Scouse cultural tapestry, if I've said that right. But that's not what's happening, right? The vast majority don't want to fit in. They don't want to assimilate, they want to dominate. And they're doing that now in the once proud working class Scouse community of Kensington and Fairfield. Those who don't get out much and don't believe me, you need to start getting out and get the bus or drive through Kensington and Fairfield, or better still, have a walk in and around there, and you'll see where Joe Owens is coming from. This is not a case of having a go at anyone, far from it. Like I said, I wish you didn't have to come down here, but if I don't, no one will. And if no one will, then cultural change will sweep across our city unopposed. You see, like I said, on a final note, had a few new arrivals, even obnoxious ones, been dispersed at the top of Smithdown Road, it wouldn't have been a problem. But that's not what's happened. Half a dozen streets have been taken over by a particular anti-social bunch of new arrivals. And again, I'm not having a go at anyone, it's the awful truth, I'm afraid, right? A few there wouldn't have been a problem. Joe Owens wouldn't be making these videos. A few in Kensington and Fairfield wouldn't have been a problem. Joe Owens wouldn't be making these videos, but that's not what's happening. Our city is being culturally changed. Yeah, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but trust me, within 5 to 10 years, our city would have changed dramatically. Do we want this? Well, no, we don't. And if we do want it, we at least need to have a voice regarding whether or not cultural change needs stopping, or it should continue unabated, continuous and indefinite. At least we should have a say on the matter. But the politicians, the Echo, Liam Thorpe, the Brill Echo, Super Scouser, Ricky Tomlinson, they don't want to debate on it. They don't want to say it. They just want to remain silent, and they just want to let it happen. And why? For popularity reasons? Is it? I don't know. I know the politicians, it's political reasons. They say otherwise, and they're out the Labour Party, right? I know that, but if you're an honest, genuine MP like Ian Byrne professes to be, a champion of the working class, then you should be standing against them and say, well, no, Keir Starmer, this has to be spoken about, this has to be dealt with, this is our city, it's being changed, my constituents aren't happy. But no, you remain in silence, and you're going to continue to do so. So Joe Owens is here once again, bringing this message to the good people of Liverpool, because I have to, because no one else will. Cultural change will sweep across our city. So again, I hope I've made my point in what I'm saying. Small amounts, top of Smithdown Road, obnoxious or not, or friendly, wouldn't have mattered because they'd be in such small numbers. Same right across Kensington and Fairfield. But that's not what's happening, like I'm saying. Right, I'm going to go now, ladies and gentlemen. It's really, really getting busy. But remember, No to cultural change. Yes to Scouse pride. Shout it out loud, Scouse and proud. Okay, thank you.